My name is Andrew Bohn. I'm the CEO of Ocean Logistics and the chairman of the Vanuatu Shipping Association. And I have received an invitation to participate in a stakeholder meeting on decarbonizing the maritime sector in Vanuatu through low carbon maritime transport roadmap and MRV systems for Vanuatu. So this workshop is being hosted by GGGI and the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries. So my candid thoughts on the issue is Ocean Logistics and the Vanuatu Shipping Association want to have a seat at the table. So we will attend and we'll be there. But I guess my first impression is that one, workshops and consultants, they happen all the time in Vanuatu. We get consultant fatigue. We get invited to a lot of workshops and most of them I attend, but the value of them I think is a bit questionable. Climate and climate change, it's going to affect us all, but I question the bang for buck and what projects like this or workshops like this are really going for. I understand there's efforts at the IMO level to reduce emissions on international vessels. I've been assured by the Minister of Climate Change, Ralph Regenbanu, that those efforts from Vanuatu and other Pacific Island states are limited to international ships and larger size vessels over 5,000 gross tons. In Vanuatu, we don't really have any vessels over 1,000 to say 2,000 gross tons, and being forced to decarbonize is not supposed to be applied at this stage to the domestic fleet. But then you got workshops like this coming along, and I have to question, is this really what the Vanuatu domestic shipping industry should be focusing on in the Vanuatu government? There are probably about 60 vessels, domestic ships in Vanuatu in the industry here, and I have to question about like how much our greenhouse gas emissions are affecting the planet or affecting Vanuatu. And I would make the argument that developing our economy and developing our shipping industry is more in our interest than decarbonizing at this stage. I think decarbonization is going to happen, but I think Vanuatu, rather than leading in decarbonizing our domestic fleet, we're going to be following on this one. We should wait and see what is going to happen globally and what global maritime industry, how they're going to lead and what technologies are going to come forward that are useful and practical, whether that's one day having electric ferries, alternative fuel sources. I think it's all great, but I just don't believe that Vanuatu should be trying to get out in front of this. I don't think there's funding for it. It's not practical. The best thing that the Vanuatu shipping industry can do for itself is focus on our businesses, and the best thing we can do for the country is also focus on our businesses, try to run better businesses, better shipping businesses, more competitive shipping businesses, and continue to service delivery to the people in the islands rather than decarbonization of the sector. I think it doesn't make sense. So the context in the background is that the GGGI is running workshops in Fiji, Tonga, Vanuatu, developing sectoral market and policy regulatory assessment of investment needs, barriers, and opportunities. The barriers and the needs is wharf infrastructure and jetties. It's not decarbonizing our fleet at this stage. Another thing that it's potentially going to be unpopular, but the objective of the consultation, one is saying validate a market assessment report for Vanuatu. 2, data integration and MRV. MRV stands for monitoring, reporting, and verification. And number 3 is inclusivity and GEDSI, gender equality, whatever GEDSI stands for. It's one of the 3 objectives. So we're actually having a stakeholder consultation about a low carbon maritime transport roadmap, and probably due to requirements for GGGI and their climate funding, we've got to have 40 to 50% of participation from women and marginalized groups embedded in future maritime investments and policy design. It just does my head in. I can't even wrap my head around how or why. Like, is it GEDSI or is it decarbonization? Which one? We're just trying to run businesses. We're just trying to stay in business. We're just trying to lobby the government for wharf infrastructure, for jetties in the islands, for a national slipway, for revitalizing the Maritime College and fixing the pipeline of seafarers to man our vessels. So when you get these workshops, it just seems really out of touch from the industry needs. But I will participate, I will be there, I'll have something to say, and I'll make our case on behalf of the Vanuatu shipping industry. Thank you to us.